All right, here we go, y'all. So now we're going to talk about very interesting conversation is we talk about the NBA a whole lot. And the question that I have to the panel is this here. Is this era of basketball, is coaching overrated? Now, when I make that statement and when I ask the question, I say it like this because of myself. I was big on Billy Donovan, and I watched him shrink in a playoff series. I've watched how you've seen some coaches that have not seemed, to my eyes, has stepped up to when it's really tight. Doc Rivers, who has a championship with the Celtics, got that. But since he's been with the Clippers, I haven't seen the same Doc Rivers coaching-wise as I've seen with Boston. And Doc Rivers has been said is a great coach. Is he really that top-tier coach at this point in time after watching the Clippers go down the way that we have?
Who's going to go first?
Zing. You want to go first?
Zing!
You want to go first on this one? All right. I don't think coaching is overrated.
Okay.
My reasons is this: coaching to me is like parenting, right? So I'm gonna use Golden State for example. Steve Kerr's out last year. They won 35 games or before he came back. This year, they won a couple games in the playoffs. He has a system that works. You feel what I'm saying? And he has players that follows that system. So now, if you're a parent and you raise your kids the right way, and you're not around, you raise them to do the right thing. They know, this is what my parents instilled in me. And I feel coaching for a part is the exact same thing. Like Golden State knows, just because Steve Kerr isn't there, we know how to handle this situation. They're a tested team, but Steve Kerr instilled that in them. That whole system to me is Steve Kerr. The confidence he put in them is all Steve Kerr. Because Mark Jackson couldn't do the same thing. I'm sorry to say that, but
okay,
I just had to do
coach.
that.
Well, as a coach, I don't think coaching is overrated. I think that in the NBA, you look at it differently because there's so much talent, and there are some teams that are far more talented than other teams. You look at Golden State and you look at Cleveland. But if you break down the different levels, I think that coaching can lose you a game.
Agreed.
And I think if you look at it from that way, the mistakes that are made, matchups, leaving a guy in too long, as far as substitutions, knowing when to stay with a player or not, going to your bench. These are all different elements that a coach has to fill out during a game. And a staff. People don't understand when they say, well, NBA, the players do everything. But they don't understand all of the backdrop, the tons of hours of scouting and video work and, moving different chess pieces in a lineup, taking a timeout at the right time on a run that's going on. What is your system? Defensively and offensively. Are we going to switch screens? Are we going to hedge screens?
And how can you put your players in a position to be successful in whatever system you have?
Do you use your personnel the right way?
Getting players to buy into your system.
Right. Are you a players coach? There's so many things that revolve around good coaching that I think that there's no way that you can undervalue coaching at any level.
Right. Avery? I don't think coaching is overrated, but I understand why people say that.
Why?
I understand this idea. I understand this idea of if you don't have the chess pieces, how are you playing chess? If you don't have the pieces in place, how are you doing X? Are you going to tell me? The argument is always: are you going to tell me a team like, let's say, you pick them, the Lakers have an opportunity if we switch coaches. If Steve Kerr is coaching the Lakers, are they going to beat Golden State because Steve Kerr is coaching the Lakers? So that's always the argument. I don't necessarily buy into that. What I'm saying is I do understand that output and that look. My whole thing is that, when you start talking about, first of all, we have these super teams, you have these max players. I think what we do overstate, what is overrated is, superstar players and max players. Think about it. We have players that wouldn't normally be a superstar. Paul Millsap, is he a max player? You think about guys like that. I think that's more overstated than what coaching is. Coaching is not overrated, but I do understand that you still gotta have that weaponry.
I think
It happened in OKC.
I think more credit is given to talent over coaching, and it really shouldn't be, because here's the deal: as much as you brought up Golden State last year, when you look at Golden State versus the Cavs, two top teams went head to head. What is the actual separation? It comes down to coaching.
It was the coaching.
So coaching can't be overrated when that is a actual factor when you get two top teams. The regular season is different because you go on the road, you have other factors playing. You got teams that is down here, teams up here. But when you get two balanced teams, talent-wise, there has to be a separating factor on.
But that's the argument, though, Mark.
Right.
Because you said when you get two
talented teams that's equal,
talent-wise,
then that's where coaching steps in.
Whereas baseball, right? We look at baseball, we can absolutely say
Managing is huge.
Managing is huge. But I always say, and the argument turns into, because you have 5 guys on the court and one guy can have this absorbent effect on the game, coaching is not as important as it would be to,
Football?
a team or football's, a team, more of a team sport like that.
Basketball is more of adjustments on the fly.
I agree with that.
Basketball is huge, and
That's what's a chess match. Yeah,
players can't adjust on the fly like that.
What-
Coaching gets you to adjust.
I think the one thing that people forget about the coaches is that our perspective of the game is so much different than a person who's on the court and from the fan who's watching it on TV or who's sitting in the stands. We see the game differently, and we're looking for different things than the average fan is, and that the players are reading and watching while they're in the game. And I think one of the things that people try to undervalue about coaches is, in fact, the adjustments. Because the average fan who doesn't know basketball that well doesn't see the adjustments. They don't see the coach who draws up a play that
To get
his
a good
team
inbound.
hasn't run
Yeah.
all season. He's got to do that on the fly.
Coming out of a timeout.
He's got to know the tendencies of what a player does, no matter how good that player is, where he shoots well from, what he doesn't want to give up, what he can give up in a game, and what he'll live with during.
And that goes back to what Mark was saying about the regular season, and we talked about it when we talked about the playoff segment, that in the playoffs the game shrinks.
Right.
It shrinks.
Shrinks.
And now
It's a total different
every detail matters.
You got to know the tendencies of the other team. You got to know what they're expecting you to do, and you got to outthink that other coach.
You got to know the tendency of the other coach.
Right.
We know people who devalue coaches.
Yes, we do.
And my message to that person is that if coaching didn't matter in the NBA, in a playoff series, every team would play the same every night. Because when you think about it, does a player's game really change on a night-to-night basis? Not really. But what the teams are doing changes
systematically.
in every game in the NBA playoffs. And who is that? That's the coaches.
Right.
All right.
So my message to those people who devalue coaching is, if you watch the difference in every game,
That's true.
the difference is
the
in
passion.
fact the coaching.
See the passion from the coach.
Brad
I mean,
Stevens, best coach.
No, listen.
Let me ask you, what
Go
y'all
ahead.
think about Pat Riley? Great coach?
Pat Riley was a great coach.
And even great coaches make mistakes. Because
Yes.
John Starks, we all know, should have came out that game.
And I was going to say that. I hold that against him. But let me add something to this, because of the reason why I give Brad Stevens a lot of credit.
Thank you.
For what
And
he's
me.
done, and you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Because he's taking a little dynamo and put players around him that are not great, that are not to his level even. They're pieces. And he's got them to buy into the system. They run that system very well. They make great adjustments on the fly. They play defense, and you never see them where they are out of sorts.
Right. That's
They
not true.
always seem to, when they go to that sideline, he has a great hand on that team. To me, that's where coaching is the most biggest effect.
Let me tell you why Brad Stevens is a better pro coach than he is.
Well, he's a great college coach,
He was a
too.
great college coach, but this is why he's going to be a better pro coach, because he's going to be able to have these guys for a longer time than 3 or 4 years than he did at the college level. I think as a coach, like right now, what I'm going through is I have a bunch of players who have been in my system, so it makes my life and my job so much easier. I think he's going to be better on down the road.
So that's different than the Knicks, who constantly change their system
Right.
every week.
And let me
Okay.
say
Doesn't-
one thing.
you know what? I'm not even going to take it back to that conversation.
please.
You already know where I was going with
Please
this,
don't
right?
know about the Knicks.
No, I wasn't even going to bring it to there.
I think, as a coach, I think the most important thing that you can do is get the players to trust and believe in what you're doing.
That is key.
And I think
that's
that
coaching.
that at the pro level is even harder than it is at the grassroots level where I'm coaching.
And that's that exact reason is why Cleveland got rid of his name? David Black. And they brought in someone who they believed and the players trusted.
Gotta manage the egos.
And that's why coaching can't be overrated, because it's such a major factor. Talent is great. Yes, you got to have talent.
And you can mess up talent.
Right,
you
can mess up.
You can't mess up talent. Because if we look at Doc, like we was talking about Doc Rivers, right? That Boston team is more talented than the Clippers team. But we all expect the Clippers team to do more than what they do. Second round, like, give us one Western Conference Finals. And at times, as much as I blame the players, Doc Rivers does come up short. Maybe need to take Chris Paul off the ball once in a while. You know what I'm saying? Maybe get DeAndre Jordan off the floor at certain times.
I got a better one for you. Maybe give up that GM spot and just focus on coaching.
Right.
That's a good one, too, because he ain't signing no real good players.
So, we good here?
Wow. That was loaded. Wow.
But I appreciate what you said when you said, your kids make it easier for you because, you have those same kids in your system. You remember when we was talking about Coach Cal? I just wanted to throw that out there. We can end this conversation.
The one and done.
Exactly. Don't worry about it.
The one and done. Here we go. The one and done.
There you go. And we can throw the counterpoint of a guy like Greg Popovich, right?
Great coach.
Who's a great coach because
system coach.
His system
works.
He puts different pieces in his system. He's different from the pieces that used to be there,
and gets the same results.
And not even that, he adjusts to the game with that same exact system. Like the Spurs, what we used to back in the days was that slow pace, right? They're basically doing the same thing. They're just moving faster now
with older players.
Right.
With older
and
players.
Let me tell you something that people devalue with the Spurs, which is also a part of coaching at the collegiate level and in the pro level. The Spurs have an excellent scouting system in place, and that's also part of coaching.
Great scouting.
Evaluating your talent and where and how to use those things.
Kawhi Leonard, a sleeper pick that no one seen coming, was going to be this great.
Right, and now
think
he's
about it.
Listen, one of the best players in the league.
Brett Brown going to be a great coach.
Brett Brown.
Yo, on that note, the Sixers, we know they stink, so I don't know where Brett Brown came from. But listen, peace out. Thank you once again. I'll take Sports Talk Show.
Yo, sample diluted.
It need to be diluted.
Yo, Wizards in 6. Wizards.